Gotta remember how to use Twitter. Well, he's asking what my phone number is. Yeah, that looks like my phone number. Oh, that is an early time to start. Willis. I haven't even teased you. I haven't even given you a tickle. Talking about 3.7.0 and anything else? Bam. That. Hey, Ash, you put it. Hey, Ash. How dare you message about me being live before I message it? Yeah, monster. Where people that are watching me are more prepared than I am for my stream. What's this about? Do that. I can't comment on the specifics of the EVOCATI. Wow, we'll go live in a second and I'll talk to you about this. I shall talk about it. Coming soon. Roadmap update. As we fucking got. I didn't include the picture of the merchantman in my video, which I probably should have. Scratching my nose. Oh my god, I've got an itchy nose. No, this is terribly itchy. Right. I think we're sort of ready. Kind of. You'd like to ask a question in brackets. Fuck it, let's just go live. Bam, like this. Lower this Petro music. I love your metric music. Music, Petro. But it's too loud. Too loud for my needs. Hope everyone is doing well. Morning, Delamars. Morning, everyone else. K. Willis, good effort. I love you, Ash, for posting that. Much appreciated. Houdini, we've got some questions already. I've just released a video just talking about 3.7 to the greatest extent I can before it goes to wider PTU, basically. So there's a huge amount of information about 3.7 available, and fortunately this time it's less annoying for me because 3.7 has been so widely publicised, and they've actually started talking about its gameplay loops that I can talk about them in a video and talk about them in quite good detail without going, oh, got to remain secret because of the EVOCATI patch. So that's a lot better this time. But we will talk in as much specifics as I can about certain things. Do you think the coming soon ship is the RSO Mantis or the RSO Black Widow, a ship that in lore was too expensive for the UE to bid on? So, as far as I'm aware, it makes sense that the ship that is incoming soon, this ship here, let's refresh it just in case it's changed. It wasn't meant live. It might change again in 15 minutes or so. They keep on updating it. It makes sense that this ship, at least to me, is the RSO Mantis, and it's a heavy fighter with something that makes it red, like a red bubble around it. Why would it have a red bubble around it? Maybe it's spoofing a signature. Maybe it's interdicting preventing the ship going into quantum or pulled the ship out of quantum. Maybe it's some people said it was cloaking or something. I don't think it's cloaking because I don't think there's supposed to be cloaking tech. But it could be a stealth ship. It could be some form of dampening, maybe. The RSI Mantis is supposed to be a heavy fighter. But it doesn't have to be the RSI Mantis. It could be another ship. It's just I'm expecting it to be the RSI Mantis because it's something that they've talked about a bit. Well, something that Star Citizen leaks have talked about a bit, and they found bits in its code. And it makes sense that I suppose the only thing they've talked about to do with the RSI ship, and this probably what it is that it looks a bit like an RSI ship. And in the Concierge newsletter, they said there's something from RSI coming out soon. But the RSI Mantis was a heavy fighter that Star Citizen leaks found, and then they found out some more details about it, and they said that it was likely that it was going to be flyable at CitizenCon, and that they were going to release it then. So it's very possible this ship will be flyable for 3.7, because we know that CIG are trying to push that model now, where possible and sensible, they are trying to release ships straight to flyable. What else have we got? But yes, it could be another ship. It could be another RSI ship. It could be one of the other ones mentioned in lore or whatever. Hey, Board, have you seen linked footage of the proxy assist and being EVOCATI? Would you be able to comment on it? I can't comment on specifics of the EVOCATI patch. As an EVOCATI member, I'm even wearing my Board NDA Avocado t-shirt today. I'm not allowed to comment on the specifics of an EVOCATI patch that is in testing or ever, I suppose. All of that stuff is NDA'd. I can talk about what's supposed to be in 3.7. I can talk about what proxy assist is supposed to do. It's supposed to replace hover mode, and it's supposed to dynamically adjust your acceleration when you get close to objects, assuming you're going slow enough so that you don't erratically move, and you can move with a bit more precision. But you'll still be able to fly with great speed when you're near the ground if you wish to. If we get the RSI Black Widow this week instead of the Mantis, so this is the other ship that people suspect that this ship could be. It could be a ship mentioned in lore that the UEE military didn't purchase because it was too expensive, or the RSI didn't win the bid for it. Again, that's very possible. Black Widow, it sounds like a cool ship. Do you think the Black Widow will be concept only, not flyable, and the Mantis will be released at CitizenCon as a flyable ship? It's possible that this ship could be flyable for 3.7, even if it's not the Mantis. It's possible. We don't 100% know. I'll say I don't 100% know. I'm sure CIT do. What side of the coming soon ship is the front, in your opinion? Let's look at this again, then. This is the front of the ship. Yeah? This is a thruster at the back. Are you thinking that this might be the front, so it's like a lobster? I did want it to have little mantis arms if it was the RSI Mantis. But it's quite possible that this isn't a Mantis. This is the Black Widow. So bear that in mind. And we are speculating. We're speculating with a reasonable amount of information. I mean, it looks quite like a heavy fighter to me. Or a fighter to me. Actually, it looks more like a medium fighter to me, to be honest. But we know that we do need an Interdiction ship and Interdiction gameplay in Star Citizen. Yeah, E-War stuff, stealth stuff. There's a lot of room for lots of different types of ships still. And it could still be a heavy fighter and have those roles as well. But I would expect a couple of concept ships at CitizenCon or around the Anniversary Expo, and a couple of flyable / drivable vehicles as well. I think it will be, because they're combining CitizenCon with the Anniversary Expo, and we're getting very close to Squadron 42 being completed. I think there could be quite a lot of stuff that they could put out. What huge ship do you think will be the most likely to come to life? What the next one, next soonest? Because the 890 jump's pretty fucking big. We need ship to station docking. And then we'll probably get things like the Hull C. Would probably be my guess for the next ship, like massive ship. And then, based on when they say Squadron 42 is going to be released, then we could start seeing the Idris and Javelins and stuff like that. Do you think the Mantis has some kind of active camouflage? I don't think they making it look like an asteroid with a hologram. So I can see why people would think that because of this. Because we saw an asteroid here before and it sort of like was concealed within the asteroid or near the asteroid or came into view. There could be something like that. As far as I'm aware, CIG don't want active camouflage. They don't want active stealth. It's all sort of like management of your systems rather than turn on a stealth generator or something. But that could have changed, or they could have something that's not entirely against what they wanted with stealth originally. So stuff does change with Star Citizen. Keep on switching that on and off. RSO Mantis maybe has an EMP. I mean, yeah, very possibly it could be an EMP generator. I think EWAR or EMP and EWAR could be a solid choice for an actual heavy ship, a heavier fighter. Sorry for all the questions. No, Houdini and everyone else. Please ask questions, whatever the fuck they are. Even though I can't answer them, it's good to have them there and we can discuss theories and that sort of stuff as well. I mean, this is literally what I want to do on some of my streams. So, do you think the new concept ship will come with variants since it's RSI? Probably not. I think that typically what we see with a lot of ships, especially fighter-sized ships and medium-sized ships, is that they won't typically have, fighter-sized ships anyway, won't typically have variants anymore. There'll be like loadout changes and there'll be lots of modularity to them, but probably not hull variants. That's my expectation anyway. You'll probably see a concept sail or a war bond sort of special edition of it with a special skin. Hopefully the Mantis has a quantum jammer and not EMP. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping as well. I'm hoping it's a quantum interdiction ship. I doubt it's an RSI ice cream van. I don't know what they're doing with glitz and stuff on Twitch. I don't know what's going on with that. If you can talk about it, what do you think about the things added to 3.7 after testing them? I can't talk about specifics of testing in an EVOCATI patch. But typically, EVOCATI builds aren't very stable. They're very buggy. And as soon as they get less buggy and more stable, then they go onto the wider PTU. And then they sort of like try and hammer out bugs. But again, typically in EVOCATI phases, you don't get the full patch with all the bits in it. And it's not really in a state that I could review it. So bear that in mind. Even if I could talk about it, it wouldn't be fair to talk about it. Tell us your secrets. What's the latest ship on? What's the latest on ship-to-ship docking? I saw it was removed, and I'm wondering if it's still coming. I believe it's in 3.8. So let me just. Or did they move it to 3.9? Or was it just actually removed? Oh, I did not spot that. Or maybe I did. So, bear with me 1 second. Was there any talk about the ship-to-ship docking moving out? I didn't notice that at all. Glow sticks good doctor, pirate swarm. So I thought it was in 3.8 still, so let's bring up the roadmap. So they basically said recently that as soon as they have Parasite, as soon as they have ship-to-ship docking, they can have the Merlin in-game. And it was expected that that was going to be in 3.8. And in fact, I'm pretty sure it was there up until incredibly recently. I had not noticed that it had moved off. Got ship-to-station docking in 4.0. I would expect ship-to-ship docking to fall in between now and 4.0. I was expecting it for 3.8. Not entirely sure it's moved off. Hadn't heard anything about it moving off. So bear that in mind. Could just be a mistake. Could be could have moved though. I'll try and find out. In November, so how much do you think ships and vehicles will be discounted? So, some ships are going to go up in price because they're near flyable or flyable or whatever. The only ships I think will be discounted are ships as part of a large package of ships, and they might have some Auroras and Mustang starter packages that are like $10 off. Typically, they don't discount ships though around those sales. They just have the ships available. You were conflicted a few months ago whether to stay in EVOCATI. Still considering or deciding to stay? I have an anxiety condition, so I'm always going to worry the choice I've made is the wrong one. But I think people said stay in EVOCATI. It seems sensible to. You're only missing out on like a week of content, if that I can't talk about specific leaks, and those leaks might not be a fair representation of the game anyway. I would like to be able to cover them though. That's true. I would like to be able to cover EVOCATI leaks and even talk about just the EVOCATI phase. How will the Hull C function without ship-to-station docking? Well, it won't, and that's why it's been moved off the roadmap, I believe. Let me just make sure that is true, because they like to fucking move things around. Yeah, it's currently not on the roadmap. If you look now. So what they said with that was that it's still planned, the Hull C, for Q4 2019 in the Squadron 42. In the Squadron 42 roadmap, but it's going to require a bit longer to get it multiplayer ready for the persistent universe. So until they know exactly when it's going to fall, they've removed it from the roadmap. They need to get the multigrid physics tech working. They need to get ship-to-station docking working. Random guests for fun ships added for 4.0. Potentially the Mercury Star Runner as well as the Hercules Starlifter. Is the Cutlass Blues that got pushed back to 4.0? Because that's 3.9. 3.9 now, isn't it? What else do we think we could see for 4.0? Hull C. Hull C's probably going to get pushed back to then. That's my expectation anyway. Have a look at the ship matrix. Have a quick look-see through them. And we can talk about some of these. I'm expecting that we'll start to see modularity next year as well. They might start talking about that, or we might start to see some being able to change modular components and changing ships around a bit. Let's bring up the ship matrix. Something exciting that we think might hit 4.0. I have no idea why the Taurus is taking so long. You can see capital ships a little bit further down the line. I'm hoping we see the Redeemer reappear, either on concept or straight to flyable at some points. Some more of the Hull series potentially, like the Hull A and B as well as the C, maybe. The Genesis is a while away. The Endeavour's a while away. Crucible's probably quite a while away. Polaris? They might be working on the Polaris. We know they've been doing a load of work on the Prowler. There's not actually that many more ships they need to get ready when you actually look at it. The X1 has sort of like been AFK for a while. Pioneer's probably further out. The Vulcan? Drone gameplay? Maybe. I'm not sure what variants of the Hercules will be in. Well, planned for 4.0 anyway. I'd like to see the Kraken, but I think that's probably next year. It's a little bit further out. Oh, the Ranger. Ranger's probably quite easy for them to get in between now and then. There's not actually that many ships they need to get done, is there? Oh, the Tonk. The Nova. Oh, I'd like to see the Nova in. Yeah. Nova at the same time as the Hercules Starlifter. That makes sense. I like that idea. I don't imagine it would be that difficult to do that either. Are you excited about the FPS mining mechanic or more mad about it? Yes, so I'm excited for the FPS mechanic combined with the commodity inventory and general other harvestables and lootables around planets. So for me, that is a huge amount of busy work and exploration work that will keep people interested in playing and sort of like, it's a huge amount more things to do, and it alludes to the future of, oh, I've discovered something cool, or fuck, this mission, because I explored a little bit further and murdered everyone in the cave or whatever, it was worth my while because I found this, which is worth like 20k from Alpha UEC, or this gem or something. So for me, it's very exciting. It's an important mechanic for the game. Man, I can't wait for 3.7. And with the power of the internet, I can play it anywhere on my new Surface Pro. Thanks to BoredGamer and Shadow. Thanks for shilling. Thanks for clicking on my referral link or using the code BoredGamer. Pow! Thanks, Jake. No worries. I know Shadow's not going to be for everyone if they haven't got a powerful enough internet connection, but I will shill for things that I like on my channel as products. I think that's probably the best way of doing stuff. If you like something, and I endorse it myself and use it like NordVPN and Shadow, I will fucking shill for it. That's why I was happy to work with the Game Glass guys, because they are a fucking fantastic product for Star Citizen. But yes, I'll stop shelling now. Well, not entirely. Oh, thank you very much, Robert Johnston. Use your link for NordVPN last night. I hope you don't get any logs of my accessing prawn. I don't. In fact, NordVPN don't save any of the logs. So that's the joy of using a VPN as well. Like it minimizes your footprint on the internet. And I think a lot of people are just worried that people have huge amounts and reams of data on them, and all of their like habits and stuff. And not that I'm embarrassed by my prawn access. Very, very classy. Okay, off to bed. Good night, and keep the noise down. You take care, Robert Johnston, mate. You are a huge contributor to the channel, and it is genuinely really appreciated. You are an absolute legend. I want to get some people like yourself more involved in the agency of the channel, so deciding some of the content, and that will help me out a lot. So I'm working that out at the moment. It will make Zin's job easier as well when she starts working for me. How do you believe a heavy fighter will go for? How much? How much do you believe? It seems lately there's been a price escalation. Yes, there is. So the more developed Star Citizen gets as a game, the more they're realizing they can actually have the prices of ships higher. Like if they sold a Carrack now in concept, it would probably be like $650 to $700 more or more. But it was originally what, 250, 350, or whatever, or 300. So they do escalate in price, and they escalate over time. They get more and more expensive, and they finally sort of like sit somewhere once they're released. So if this is a heavy fighter, I would expect it between the 180 and 250 mark, would be my expectation. If it's got a very specific role or got a powerful role, then I would expect it to potentially be a little bit more. How will the Hull C function without ship to station docking? It won't. I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to Star Citizen since 3.3. Any highlights to what's been going on? Planet ArcCorp. That's been a pretty major, and Hurston. They're pretty major additions to the game. Proper full planets with landing zones. Lots of cool new missions. And a generally more stable, better game. The new flight model's been a bit oddly received. The new flight model's okay. It's the sort of atmospheric model for that with hover mode was pretty bad. So they're trying to repair that or remove that problem with a what's referred to as IFTS proximity assist. which sort of like scales down your acceleration when you're close to objects in atmosphere. Do you need fewer icons on your toolbar? No, I need more. That's not enough. Do you know if capital ships like Javelin size will be controlled by virtual joystick? Or will there be something, some other methods of controlling them, like submarines in space or something? I believe they're going to fly like another ship would, like the 890 jump would, but bigger. Don't 100% know that, but that's the expectation though. You know if the Anvil F8 will be flyable in Star Citizen for normal backers? Yes. So, you will be able to unlock access to certain military gear and stuff via playing Squadron 42. Getting to certain points in Squadron 42 unlocks sort of like contacts and the ability to buy certain ship and some military equipment like the F8 from military outlets or whatever, wherever it is. You should also be able to buy it from other players, and there'll probably be other ways of getting it in the game, but it's not just exclusive to people that are concierge or anything like that. Well, assumptions would elan towards it being would lend itself. That's probably that's going to be lend itself to being a RSI ship. Could it possibly be a new Anvil ship? It's possible. It looks a little Anvil and a little RSI, doesn't it? So the thruster is reasonably Anvil, and there's always like this sort of circular motif. Well, that's quite small for an Anvil circular motif. So it's possible. It is possible that it's not even an RSI ship. Do you think they will make another Corvette? Yes, in the future, almost certainly. I think they'll probably make battle cruisers and ships in between the huge ships they've got planned. Do you believe the CIG will respond to our desire to have narcotics wars return as it was in the previous patches? Yes, I think they want to have those kind of gameplay loops. Jump Down, that was absolutely great fun. They sort of like watered all of that gameplay down and had lots of other locations which weren't even that profitable. So they sort of, when they've only got 50 players on a server, you want to sort of have those trade routes widely visited, sort of like create a bit of a conflict and a bit of worry and anxiety for the players there. I think it was really, really good for that. They sort of watered it down in the later patches, which is a bit of a shame. So hopefully they'll make it a bit more interesting again, get a bit more trade routes coming on and people actually frequenting them more regularly. Regarding prox mode, when we see it, do you think there should be consequences using it? Like huge fuel burn, engine overheating, if held for too long? Well, that's just generally, when you're in atmosphere now, the idea is that you will burn a lot of fuel, it will burn hot, and if you point your, you might need to turn your VTOL thrusters down, if your ship has that ability to keep your ship up. No, I read comments on Discord, Twitch, YouTube, email, and any other medium people want to send them to me. So I think people, okay, so bear in mind, sending questions with swear words in and certain mediums get auto-removed by sort of like auto-moderators that I don't have that much control of when I had to set up properly. Just bear that in mind. If you're asking a question, Art, I see. I don't believe, I think you've got literally a swear word in each one of your points and questions. I don't believe they will focus on server-side object container streaming until people like Board rally the entire community to protest the game until that shit's done, like with 3.3. I mean, I know for a fact they are working on server-side object container streaming. They're even working out ways to try and decouple it so we can get it sooner. Have some of the bits of it and have some sort of like progression saved between patches. That's a genuine focus for them. They can't focus much more, if any more, sort of work on that. Have I seen the update coming soon page? It's been updated, is it? Okay. Okay, so it looks a little bit like the name of the film, Event Horizon's going on here. Maybe there wasn't a big red light, but you know what I mean. It's a spinny thing. So what do we think this is? An EMP or an interdiction device? I see what you mean by it could. I mean, I do think it's an RSI ship, but it could still be Anvil, couldn't it? Because of the thruster, because of the circular motif. That's fucking cool, though, eh? But interdiction, do we think? Interdiction, yeah. There's 35 unfinished concepts and 46 if you count variants. Okay, that's not too many, and especially when the variants are probably pretty easy for a lot of those ships. Okay. Quantum Jammer, Quantum Interdictor. Cool. Makes sense. We've wanted one in the game, and having a specific ship for that's pretty cool. Probably. It was interesting to see with the way that CIG were going to go with it, where they're going to have it. So it's a module or item that you could fit on a ship. Was it going to be like a torpedo or a missile that you just sort of like deployed, or was it going to be like a big module or I suppose a dedicated ship for it? And what they've got here doesn't necessarily preclude the other ways of doing interdiction, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Still could be the RSI Mantis. Could be heavy fighter with interdiction. Kalis logo's a Xi'an logo, is it? Okay. We Xi'an Tech with RSI. Price expectation? Well, if it's a heavy fighter crossed with an interdiction ship, yeah, if it's got a specific role, it's going to be more expensive. $240 to $350, probably something like that. Probably quite expensive. Maybe $200 to $350. Like in between that. That's what my expectation would be. I know that's expensive. Get it in game though. Yeah, so on the first day this came out, I looked at the webpage info. It says Kalis RSI logo. Yes, this is called the Kalis RSI logo. Oh, it's just banner teaser now. Yeah, RSI Kalis. But we don't 100% know what that means. Well, I didn't know what it meant at the time. You think it's because it's a Xi'an logo? Yeah, quite possibly. Xi'an crossed with RSI Tech. I think it was actually called the Kalis, and I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying if it was called the Kalis, the ship, I would suspect they would have fixed that hole in the code ASAP, like immediately. But that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think interdiction as well, almost certainly. I'll just go through a section of these comments, just in case they get removed. That's good. One shot, manual. Yes, it did. Okay, that's cool. What else have we got? Is server-side object container streaming been given a target date? So we know they wanted to try and get it done for this year, so 3.8. Although when they last talked about it, they basically said they were going to try and decouple some of those features so that they try and get in more persistence, well, something more persistent in and stuff like that as soon as possible. So no hard date for it, but maybe some of it for 3.8. Do we see any new Vandal ships for sale at CitizenCon? It's possible they do a new Asperia Vandal ship of some description, like the Stinger or something. Do you listen to heavy metal? Reference to deathcore in the icon on the browser. No, so deathcore is DC, who I play games with. Deathcore. That's it. That's his gamer tag. Banning Merchantman put back into 5.8. I don't know. The Defender should be in 3.7, and then they can actually start working on the Banning Merchantman properly. I would expect to see the Banning Merchantman next year. So by 4.2. What else have we got here? Did you see on Star Citizen Leaks that the Redeemer has entered production? No, I did not. But that is good to know. The Redeemer's entered production. We still think it's an Aegis ship, yeah? That makes sense, because they said at the Concierge event there's probably going to still be an Aegis ship. When do you think Star Citizen will get server meshing? I don't see it. I don't see the game going anywhere without it. It needs it to be a multiplayer game, a proper multiplayer game, an MMO. I suspect they'll get it in for next year. Did they write 3.9 will have server-side order container streaming or backup fanfic? It's expected to start coming in from like potentially 3.8. Any updates on Squadron 42 in general? Not really. We know that it's been pushed back by a quarter. So the beta, a feature complete beta is planned for Q3 2020. I'm expecting to see Squadron 42 get a release date at CitizenCon this year. That makes sense to me because they need to start putting out the sort of like advertising in the media and stuff for it. The sort of like marketing campaign on the go. Raging Sage, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. Well, as long as they're constantly making progress, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it's fucking slow. You can argue about that stuff. This game is total meme until server-side object container streaming. They're downgrading graphics quality and fidelity on the servers because they're already maxed out. As long as they're actually building out the quality and they're getting stuff like that done, they're not losing anything from messing around with stuff. I won't talk about the specifics of the EVOCATI patch, though. Is there any information about the Aegis Nautilus release? No, we don't know when it's going to be in-game. We do know that there's mines in Squadron 42, though. I get incredibly high frames, 60 plus, almost permanently when I play Star Citizen. That's a lie, actually. Maybe 40 to 50 in problem areas, and then on average 60 to 80, I suppose, when I'm out in space. You see that from my footage that I've got in game and when I play. So you don't need a super computer to run this. It's not, but can it run Crisis? After client-side object container streaming came in, there wasn't that much in the way of terrible problems for most medium to high-end computers. There's still going to be sort of like edge cases where you still get problems. Leaks of proximity assist in the 3.7 look bad. Yeah, it probably does look bad. It's EVOCATI. So the EVOCATI races are in a buggy state with stuff that they're testing and things that might not work as intended. They do rapidly iterate on them on the EVOCATI phases, though, and we'll go, oh shit, that's not working. Bam, let's get that fixed. How much do you think the rental prices will be for small and large ships in 3.7? There's probably leaks about it already. I can't talk about the specifics of how much that it is. I would expect them to be, when they're done, probably So you're going to be able to rent ships for like up to a month, probably. They'll probably tweak all this sort of stuff around, so you'll have a lot of different dates that you can choose from. I'd expect for renting a ship for a month, it'd probably be between 15 and 30% of its value, sort of around there. But they're going to tweak and change all this sort of stuff and get it into a position that they're happy with it for live, and then that's going to keep on changing as well, and probably become dynamic pricing for rental of ships. Did CIG say there would be a different ship to the Pioneer for building stations, or did you dream it? Tomato System. So, you probably didn't dream it entirely. So, they said that the Pioneer was going to be building outposts, but they also did say, at the same time when they were talking about the Pioneer, there will be other ways of deploying, like defense turrets and other smaller items and things like that on planets. So, I'm assuming that's still the case. So, you'd have, like, mining machines and things like that the Pioneer doesn't necessarily build. Or defense turrets that the Pioneer doesn't necessarily build, but you're able to deploy them in other ways. Would you breach NDA if I sent you £2? No. Thanks for asking, mate. ABG, I have a freelancer DUR. I'm thinking the DUR probably won't be ideal for exploration, and I've decided to make money first at launch. So I'm going to upgrade. Would you go Freelancer Max or Prospector? Depends what you want to do. If you want to do the mining and now mining and exploration of caves gameplay, the Prospector is probably a pretty good idea. I suppose you have to mine asteroids as well with the Prospector and find the little nodes on them. If you want to do more multi-role gameplay, then go Freelancer Max or consider another ship. Or stick with what you've got and just get different things in game. What do you think of the fact when an AI ship is stolen, the PU pilot has AI turrets and quantum jamming capabilities, so that the tech works when they release it to players? So, yeah, me and Zen noticed this quite a while ago in some of the early... the 3.6 and 3.5's PTUs, that you could get ships to mirror what you did. So you could go up to a security force and start spinning around and doing weird things, and occasionally they would just start following you and doing exactly the same thing that you were doing, like they were a part of your wing. And then when you go over to their ships and sit in their chairs, all their turrets will fire automatically. Well, not automatically, at your target. I was like, oh, this is quite good, because this leads me to think that they're actually potentially further along with some of the systems, or some of the systems for AI and NPCs for aiming and multi-crewing aren't that complex. But I don't know when they're coming. What gameplay loops do you expect hypothesize from game-based jails they mentioned? So solo player breakouts, third-party help. Yeah, I mean they said both of those scenarios. So I'm not sure if we're going to have jails just in caves on the surface of moons and planets, but also maybe in asteroids like Grimhex, and they'll have like the cave tech in an asteroid, because the cave tech allows them to build asteroid caves as well. Why the fuck not? It makes sense that they do stuff like that. But yeah, the idea is that there'll be stuff to do in prison. You can earn merits to get out sooner. You can pay off the debts. You can break out either solo or with third-party help. That's the sort of expectations there. Are you excited for the new concept ship? Yeah, as long as it fills a hole that's sensible. Eccentric Max, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. But yeah, I'm excited for it, as long as it fills a hole, as long as it's not sort of like something that's totally unnecessary. And you agree with some folks on Spectrum that CIG is dragging the sale out too long and hurting interest. I don't know. I think it's worth them trying doing something like this. So we'll have to wait and see. I do think it will be either flyable in 3.7 or go to concept sale for this weekend. So it depends on whether it's a straight to flyable ship or not, in my opinion. Hover mode is dead, and the unfortunate atmospheric flight model of ships acting like floating turrets that can point their nose down is back. Do you feel responsible for this death? No, I feel responsible for saying my point of view, which I will still have, even if it's a bad idea. But I'll tell you more about it once it's in the wider PTU, and I can talk about it. And it's probably a bit more refined than it is now. I like the idea of ships having their acceleration dynamically changed when they're close to targets and moving slowly, so that they don't erratically move. That's all I want. I want it so they don't erratically move when you're really close to the ground. EMPs are blue, quantum interdictions are red. Are we looking at the underbelly in the picture? I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's a silhouette. It's irrelevant. It's a silhouette, and that quantum interdiction device could go through all the way through, so you could see it from both sides, maybe. Hell yeah, you're alive. I was wondering if you knew much about the server continuity, or when it coming. I want to do detrimental or reversible damage to other players. Wow. So they talked about it recently and said that they were going to be trying to bring in some persistence to do with Alpha UBC and ships that you bought. They're going to try and get that into the game as soon as possible. They don't necessarily have to have full persistence for that. Bored, Grand Fat Man here. Hope you're well. Looking forward to 3.7. Yes, very much so. I think $295 for what a quantum interdiction heavy fighter. I think that's probably 240 to 300. Yeah, 240 to 320. I'm sort of like revising my estimates the more I think about it. It's going to be an RSI ship. The thrusters that it's got on the odd prongs either side of the ship are on the Connie. Yes. Oh, yes, they are, aren't they? It's the circular motif, and it's a little bit like Anvil. I suppose RSI is a little tiny bit like Anvil with its angles. And because if it's a heavy fighter, Anvil typically do heavy fighters, do fighters and similar sort of things, so it might look a bit more like that because of that. If it's an interdiction ship with quantum jammer, do you expect it to be heavily armed? Now, it could go down the route of trying to disable ships and slow them down, so it's not really supposed to be used just by itself. It could go down the route that it's really tanky, for the same reason it's not supposed to be used by itself, and so it's sort of like it will hamper ships and fly off and just like do circles while the other ships take it down. Or it could go down the route of having a huge amount of weaponry so that it can hunt down ships and quantum interdict them. I hope they don't go down the route of it having a huge amount of armament. I like the idea of it being focused at trying to disable ships and slow them down. So quantum jamming, some E-War stuff, some weapons that do distortion damage, stuff like that. So a lot of people are going to say that this isn't a Mantis, this is going to be the Black Widow, which again makes sense as well. Makes sense that a quantum interdiction ship would be called something like a Black Widow. Spider's Nest, got the sort of like a red and sort of like spidery vibe, maybe. Will non-concierge players have a chance to buy the Banu Defender when it's released? Yes. Yeah? I mean, so typically, they'll make ships like that available to purchase, both in-game and out-of-game now, when they're flyable. So some ships are limited hull, so like the hull, the 890, so they might do like a specialist sale for it, and then go, we sold 100 hulls, 200 hulls, or 1,000 hulls, whatever, and that's the cut-off point, and then you have to get it in-game. Some ships are going to be harder to get in-game than others. What of shield holes, sir? Any news on the fix? I'm hoping that 3.7 fixes a load of those kind of problems. I'm leaning towards Anvil now more after seeing this new image, purely because the RSI, while they have the Polaris, is much more of a civilian manufacturer. Thoughts? No, I think Bob Mitch is right with the prongs on the engine. To me, it is RSI. It just has some similarities to Anvil. New ship thrusters, look, Anvil, that could have been in the middle. Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's definitely got some similarities with Anvil. BoredGamer, I have a Freelancer not going to be ideal for exploration, so Max, Prospector, or Taurus. I like the Taurus for its value, but I'm not sure when the Taurus is going to be in-game. I'm not sure why it's not in-game already. Can you say something about this staggered development? So the idea of staggered development is that they now have two sets of teams that are working on persistent universe patches simultaneously. One is working on the current patch, so let's say the next, I say not the current patch, the next patch. So in this case, 3.7. And there's another team working on the patch after that, so 3.8. So we have a team working on 3.7 and a team working on 3.8. When the team finishes work on 3.7, they move directly onto 3.9. And then, so that effectively have teams working in 6-month overlap periods rather than 3 months periods. So it's just a different way of doing that. And the idea is that it's going to give us features that are more developed and in a better state than just their tier 0 implementations that we previously had, and they'll be able to get the patches more accurate out with less problems, more polish, that sort of stuff, and hit deadlines. Is the anniversary sale for all of November? So 23rd of November is probably when the anniversary sale will start, which is also CitizenCon, and it typically goes on for like 2 weeks. Any news on True Persistence? That's what's keeping me from playing Star Citizen lately. Yeah, as I said, we don't know when True Persistence is coming. They are working on full persistence or True Persistence and server-side object container streaming, which is important for the game, and the next stage of getting the gameplay area fuller, more planets. They sort of like need those, or at least some of those optimizations there before they can have Microtech and before we can have Crusader actually as a physical representation there. But they might be able to decouple some of these features so that we can have partial persistence between patches. So they wouldn't need to reset your progression with Alpha UEC and your ships that you bought. And that could be relatively soon. That could be this year. Do you think FPS mining will be profitable with a group of miners more so than with an individual? So, okay, I'm going to start defining FPS mining as multi-tool mining. Okay. Because effectively, prospector mining is still first person. Do you know what I mean? So with multi-tool mining, I think that it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag. I think where you're exploring caves or doing other missions, there's going to be times you go, ooh, piece of candy, and find these nodules. I also think that depending on how they do asteroid fields and sort of like the clustered nodes, if you go in an asteroid field with a prospector and a few other mates that are flying on a cargo ship, so Prospector and then say Caterpillar, you might find a big asteroid field, go to scan down asteroids, and then everyone flies out EVA with mining tools and fills up the Caterpillar with those sort of like smaller nodes, while the Prospector also goes and noms up the big asteroids after they've taken out the smaller nodes around them. So it's going to be dependent on how it's balanced, whether that's profitable or not, but that's how I can foresee some gameplay there. Do you feel the new 3.7 hover mode will be a return of 3.4 trash UFO turret mode? So we don't know until it's in the wider PTU, really. We don't really know until it's in live. So I'm hoping that it fixes the problems I had with hover mode, but it might go too far in the wrong direction. Do you think a reason the Banner Defender is so delayed is because secretly the asset library is also being used for the Merchantman getting an earlier surprise release than expected? Well, I mean, the asset library is going to be used for the Merchantman. They're just making sure that the Banu are in a good place, because they're going to be using that asset library for the Defender and that sort of stuff to not only build the Merchantman and any other Banu ships, but also their culture, also the design of their cities and stuff. So it's really important to get that right. Do you think there will ever be a time when filthy casuals and the people that want a simulator can agree that floating turret ships is a terrible flight model? Yes, I think that's accurate as well. I think people know that. People want something different than what hover mode provided, but they don't want just you being able to fly like you're in space on a planet either. The thing is that I want weighted ships. I want them to fly differently. I want it to be dangerous in atmosphere. But I don't want it to be too fiddly when doing basic maneuvers like trying to land. What extra details that aren't really talked about or cool features will be added to the server-side or to contain streaming? We don't 100% know, I suppose, if they haven't talked about them. I know when they talked about getting missions and stuff in-game, they talked about them testing out some of the missions and stuff they've got planned using server-side object container streaming, and they said it was like night and day and great performance-wise, but I don't know. Do you think there will be medical gameplay at CitizenCon? Maybe jabbing people with medipens and tracking them, maybe? Maybe spawning in different locations when they die? Hey Bored, Grand Fat Man here. Do you find that you have to be careful not to slip up on anything that might be under NDA, being EVO, also once it's leaked? Do you talk about it? No, so I won't talk about specifics of leaks. I won't talk about the specifics of an EVOCATI build that I'm currently in. Basically, the EVOCATI agreement is effectively you try to protect the information for the EVOCATI phase. Anything that CIG make public, I will talk about. Anything that is not part of the EVOCATI build, specifically the EVOCATI build, I'll happily talk about, even if it's leaked. It's just the EVOCATI stuff I won't specifically talk about. But hopefully, if CIG are a bit more transparent with what's going to be in a build, and they start talking about it like inside Star Citizen, like they did in 3.7, then it's not much of a problem. Also, I don't think if you accidentally broke your NDA, as long as it was to a small degree, the CIG would be that pissed off at you. But they might be, so try not to break it. That'd be my suggestion. I mean, it could cost them money, effectively. You could affect their marketing by saying something you shouldn't. Or at the very least, you'd probably be kicked off the EVOCATI. I know some people will probably say, "Oh, Bored breaks his EVOCATI NDA or something by like he said the EVOCATI was out." Well, CIG say it's out. Oh, he said this about the EVOCATI. Yeah, that's literally public knowledge. I'm pretty good with it. Looking very healthy today, thanks. Does that mean I'm fat? I'm feeling alright actually. Recovered from my hangover over the weekend. Is this stream delayed? You're delayed. When will CIG stop listening to BoredGamer and not implement terrible flight models that involve ships that can point their nose to the ground? Garbage flight model, total trash. I literally have said what I wanted with a flight model. I didn't want to fly too erratically when I was close to the ground. That is what a lot of other people wanted. You can disagree with me, Randy. I don't think CIG do directly listen to me. I think they probably listen to a lot of people that didn't like what was happening with hover mode. Okay? Now, there were some elements of hover mode I did like. What I don't want is to have a barrier to entry to basic landing on the ground, because ships move too erratically when you're close to the ground. Yeah? Is that fair enough? I'm happy with the whole of the rest of hover mode, but I like the idea of when I'm very close to the ground, that it dynamically adjusts my acceleration. What I didn't like was flying like a helicopter erratically and moving forward when I tilt down to see what I'm doing. If I had an underbelly cam, that probably would have made it better. Obviously, I got used to just pressing right shift, and I got used to the new flight model. So I was like, oh, it's okay, I can deal with this now. But that was my opinion on it. If you don't like the opinion, that's fine. I think a lot of other people felt the same. But yeah, I was fine with most of the rest of the flight model. And in fact, I'd probably been okay with flying like a helicopter as long as it really scaled down my movement when I was flying slowly. You know what I mean? Did they fix the... And people don't need to agree with me. You don't have to agree with anything I fucking say. When it's to do with my opinion and stuff, you can have your own opinion. And I in fact, encourage you to share that opinion. You can share it here, but it would be more effective to share it in the correct places to give feedback on Spectrum if you actually want to affect change. Although here and there was probably the better way of doing it. And yeah, as I said, you can have a totally different opinion from me, and that's fine. Don't get angry about it, though. Do you think there'll be RP servers? I think there'll be RP orgs. Helicopter mode was garbage. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that way. I was actually think quite sort of in the middle. I got angry about helicopter mode when I couldn't use it to start with. But I got a little bit better with it, and then I was like, well, my actual problem with it is that I don't want to move erratically. I don't want to move too quickly. I don't want to move and crash into an object. I want to be able to check around and go, and be able to land. Without going, oh, I'm looking down, now I have to entirely reposition myself. Oh, I'm looking down to see where I am, now I have to entirely reposition myself. Kevin Breeran, thanks for all the content. Thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciated, buddy. Oh, you star. And people throwing super chats at me. Legend. Is there any info about how quests will be handled? Will there be a player queue where you can see your place in line? Not as far as I'm aware. There's going to be quests that you can get directly from NPCs and quests that you can get from your Moby-Glass. Some of those will be player-made quests, server-speaking quests. There should be a more robust system for that in the future. Some quests will be dynamically given to you based on the area that you are in or available to you. There'll be distress signals and stuff based on that distance as well. Some missions might not be entirely apparent that you have them, but they sort of like tell you a location to go to, and you might find rewards and stuff like that there. That's sort of like the idea about some of the questing will be handled in the future. But the dynamic mission system should generate quests or missions based on the area that you're in. You'll be able to take them from your mode class for most of that. How much salt do you think the hardcore sim pods will generate when CIG make the game more suitable for casual players, who will, after all, be their biggest audience for Star Citizen? I think we need a good level of simminess. I mean, I want a good light model that has a big skill ceiling, like a huge skill ceiling, but doesn't have a skill floor that's too low. I want people to be able to be reasonably competent when they jump into a ship or fight. Do you think the interdiction will be waiting in frequent quantum lanes or a chase through quantum mechanic? I think that you'll... The way they talked about interdiction previously was that interdiction will create a bubble, and you can set that sort of like the size and power of the bubble. The larger the bubble, the more power you put into that, the more easy you are to detect from long range. But ships that come within that bubble will be pulled out of quantum, and the reason you want to make the bubble smaller is so that people get pulled out of quantum near you, so you can actually capture them before they get away. That's the sort of idea there. The bubble's too big, yeah, you'll catch more people, but they probably just about to get away. I'm typically like 10 minutes behind on questions, so sort of bear that in mind. Just a thought, why does the new ship have a door that opens? Why would you need that for quantum jamming? For quantum jamming and then EVAing on board their ship, maybe? If it's a boarding ship as well? If you make a crime, go to prison or jail, how much time will you be in for the crime? They're going to be balancing that. They're going to be balancing that and working that out. Yes, so you need to be able to do stuff in prison, or you'll need to be something that you can potentially log off from, I suppose, while you're there, or work a way around it. Did you notice the backwards facing quad turret? No, I didn't. I still don't. Backwards facing quad turret? You think this is a quad turret? Another thruster? I don't see any backwards facing quad turrets. But I mean, I like the idea of it having a big turret. You could have a heavy fighter / quantum interdiction ship that has PPs. Pew! Thanks, I appreciate the love. How will the dynamic generation for dynamic missions work? So the idea is that it takes and crunches economic data and stuff that's happening in your general area, and what other missions have been taken, and what's happening with the economy, and all that sort of stuff, and then works out appropriate missions based on that. And then also you'll have dynamic events as part of this. When you're quantum traveling around, you'll get distress signals. You'll be pulled out of sort of quantum travel by quantum interdiction. That's sort of part of the mission generation system. So the events and encounters that you have as well. And it spawns your enemies and all that sort of jazz. Does the concept ship look a bit like a Vanguard? Maybe. If it had the Vanguard wings, it would look a bit like a Vanguard. It's got RSI. It's also got, I mean, it's a bit Anvilish. It's a bit RSI-ish, doesn't it? You can imagine it being the Mantis or a Black Widow. Must for any outlaw or pirate group. It's probably a must. Well, it's probably a good idea for bounty hunters as well. Eons ago, on ATV, while developing ways to get around in EVA, they showed us an Ender's Game type mode. Yes, not Blitzball. Yeah. Do you think we'll get this in Star Marine or 3.9, or maybe never again? I think we'll get it at some point. Why can't I fucking remember what that mode's called? I used to talk about it loads. Astro Arena, thank you. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have the push and pull on the multi-tool, I think, that allows you to move around in the not too distant future. Then they're going to have the push and pull with your hands and all that sort of stuff coming into the game pretty soon. And I think next year we're also seeing the artificial gravity with EVA packs. So once they have all of that in, they could potentially put that mode back in. They do have a dedicated team, as far as I'm aware, working on Arena Commander and Star Marine now as well. So team that's working on Star Marine, yeah, maybe they could put Ender's Game style mod in, or game mode. We just saw them create a new Star Marine map and make improvements to Pirate Swarm for 3.7 as well. So Satterball, that was it. Satterball. Also Astro Arena. The Astro Arena as well. They called it Astro Arena? Satterball? Why do I think it was Astro Arena? It was Satterball. Thanks. I remember things. I'm not sure why the Taurus isn't in game yet. I would have thought it would be very easy to get the Taurus in game. I'm not sure it's off the roadmap currently, so I'm not sure if it's going to be like a, and here it is, guys, bam, the Taurus, or if it's a ship needs to fall or drift unless it's perfect level while in atmosphere, period. Otherwise, this game just has a joke of a flight model. I don't think that's a reasonable point of view. You're sort of like saying, it has to be this, otherwise it's shit. I don't agree with that. I think there's the rule of cool and fun should always trump. You do need a good flight model. I mean, it's hard for me to define that, what I mean by that. I don't really know until I see it, to be honest. Maybe going the full sim route and having a very true to physics model is a lot better. But I don't know. I can only tell you what I like and don't like. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with that. Yeah. Will the 2-week ship sale feature limited availability of ships? I'll be on holiday while it's on. It should feature limited availability ships, yes. And some of those ships will probably have limited hull numbers as well. So, like, they'll probably sell the Idris and Javelin again, for example. Future cult leader people are just bad pilots and they want some casual garbage. Dude, you need to chill. Look, people have a different opinion than you. You need to accept that, or don't. Don't browbeat people with your idea and say it's just the better one. It might be, but not everyone agrees. Chill. And maybe Interdiction will be wait and ambush instead of race and chase. Yes, so am I. Wait and ambush is better. I mean, you can probably do it in both ways if you have the right setups. I'm not sure which way they'll cater for. Wait and ambush probably seems the most sensible. I probably am a reasonably scrub tier pilot. Just so you know, I'm certainly not pro. I've got a lot of hours in the game, but that's not going to make me pro pilot. I try to think of it on multiple levels when I play a game, though. Like, how are other people going to experience that? You're not going to have a huge amount of people that are top tier pilots, or that have hundreds of hours to invest in learning how to do basic maneuvers. And that's what it is. You don't want the basic maneuvers of landing sort of gated for a skilled player. You know, well, you can't land at a landing zone because you're a noob. But what? That's a bit harsh. What do you think the biggest blockers are stopping them from running out of stream of content? I mean, their slow development process. I mean, server-side object container streaming and generally getting their tools geared to what they want, and Squadron 42, all of that together is sort of holding them back. They're much more geared on the core elements of Star Citizen and Squadron 42 stuff. Yeah, but the NDAs, even after the EVOCATI phase, you're still not allowed to talk about the specifics of the EVOCATI phase. The original pledge for the Carrack came with the Pisces and an Urza class rover. I bought one, and now it does not list any additional vehicles on the pledge page. Are they still included? Yeah, if you bought them when they were supposed to be listed, I believe, so yes. I can't talk about the after the original sale or when they weren't listed. I assume they still come with the Pisces and the Urza rover. Oh, Crater Robin, thank you very much for all the bits. I didn't realise you were so far behind on questions. Please forgive me. Spam the question. Don't worry about it. If you spam it, then I'll just read it once, whatever. Do you know if we have resource? Do we know if resources will respawn in caves? Yes, they will. There's effectively a harvestable manager that works out when they should respawn. At least in the short term, that's how it's planned to work. Is it okay if I have no questions? No, but it's okay, Osri, because you asked a question. What's your opinion on others' people's opinion that is the wrong? Your opinion? What? What's your opinion on other people's opinion that your opinion is wrong? They're entirely entitled to that view. My opinion is just that. It's fine to be wrong, and it's fine to sort of like change your opinion. I'm happy for people to explain to me why they think something I've said is wrong or what their point of view is. That's cool, and I'll happily revise my opinions based on stuff. It's a little bit different from reporting on the news and opinions, so it's cool to be wrong, and it's cool to change your opinion, and it's cool to have a different opinion from someone else, but you try to remain as civil as possible, you know, right? If you're just saying, I'm right, you're wrong, and you're not civil, you're a cunt. When do you think they reveal the new RSI ship to Concierge? Probably Thursday. That's what I'd expect. It's possible that it's going to be a straight to flyable ship with 3.7. They'd probably still reveal it, I suppose, and make it go on sale this weekend. Question. Do you always have to be in total control as a pilot? Cruise ships have multiple people coordinating the helm. Why can't you grab one of your subscribers to help you land? What? What? What, like in a single-seater fighter? I'm fine with landing now. I'm just saying that there was a problem to start with, and a lot of people had the similar problem with landing. I don't think you can gate the most basic sort of systems in a ship like landing. I don't think you can. Have auto landing maybe. I just didn't like the way it erratically moved when I was close to the ground and looking down. I've already explained myself. I didn't like it. Sorry if you think that's the wrong opinion. I heard that the pirate caterpillar is back for sale. Yes, I believe it still is. You have to complete Pirate Swarm in multiplayer, I believe. I'd recommend beating Pirate Swarm just for the fun of it, but not to purchase that caterpillar. It's just a skin. Will server-side object container streaming increase NPC count? Probably not, but it could. It's server meshing that's definitely going to increase it. Is the Taurus ship death? What? I don't... We're not sure why it's been moved off the roadmap. It seems weird. Like, it should... it should be done already, surely, right? I do think they should actually put gimbals on size 1 mounts. Yes, so the idea is that they wanted starter ships and smaller ships to be able to have auto gimbals. So they're going to allow size 1 mounts to mount size 1 gimbaled weapons as well. Effectively for a free size, you see what I mean? Just googled a real Black Widow spider, and you'll immediately see the reference. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that this isn't the Mantis, and this they're still going to sell the Mantis at CitizenCon, or maybe that this originally was called the Mantis, and now they've called it the Black Widow, or maybe this is the Mantis, and maybe the Black Widow doesn't exist. Or, who knows? But it does very much look like Interdiction. Hey board, hope you're well. During what I'm playing at the moment, any thoughts on lifetime insurance? I've done some research and it seems like it's no big deal, but if I'm going to start spending hundreds on ships, it seems like a good idea to wait for lifetime insurance sales and CCUs. Any thoughts? Yeah, so I would try and buy stuff in game because you're going to be able to rent stuff in 3.7. You can buy ships now that are going to have persistence of some degree where your ship sales carry over at some point in the near future, it sounds like. So I wouldn't purchase anything more than sort of like an Avenger Titan. If you are in love with a ship and you have the spare money to do it, yeah, wait for a lifetime insurance sale for the ship you want. Or get a ship that has lifetime insurance and then CCU your ship across to that. Majority, don't pull that out of your rear end on me. There was no majority that hated hover mode. Did I say majority? Apologies if I did. You don't know if it was a majority or a minority either, though. Did I say majority? I'm normally quite precise in my speech. You might not even be talking to me. But a lot of players didn't like it. For some reason, you feel like I can see that you're blaming me, but I stand by what I said. 100% stand by what I said, Randy. So sorry, bud. The new implementation could be worse, though. I'm not saying that it could be worse. There could be something they have to get in between or work on it more. But I'm saying there were problems with hover mode. I plan to host any glow stick parties on the 890 jump. 100%. That's a fucking great idea. Board, you work for this. You don't have the right to say it's just my opinion. I literally do. What are you saying that I don't have the right to say that? What? I literally, there's some things I have no idea if what's correct or bad or whatever. I can only tell you my opinion on it. I literally have to say my opinion on it because I can't state it as a fact. And that is just my opinion. And I work on my YouTube channel, which creates content on Star Citizen. That's a ridiculous thing to say. Board, the basic skills of landing are not that hard. It just needs tweaks. I mean, they've suggested hundreds of times. Instead, they gave up. Yeah, so they certainly could have tweaked hover mode to make it work for me. I literally just don't want it to be too erratic when I'm close to the ground and when I'm trying to land. That was my problem. And yeah, I also don't want ships floating around in atmosphere like floating turrets, just owning everything. That's ridiculous as well. I totally agree with that. That's probably worse. And again, it's not what I wanted either. I wouldn't say necessarily lack of realism is not fun, but yeah, I mean, I probably do want a more realistic thing for some stuff. I don't know. The problem is I don't know with that flight model stuff. I did say that. Have you heard anything about science in the persistent universe? Not really at the moment. It's going to cross over into sort of like the gathering and exploration gameplay. Science is probably a little bit further out when they start putting science ships in more appropriately. Other than the lack of civility from a couple of you, I'm actually quite enjoying that conversation with talking about sort of like problems with the flight model. So yeah, I'm happy to talk a lot more about it once we see what the IFCS assist was, see what it's like when it's in the PTU. But as I said, I had problems with the hover mode when it was first implemented when landing. I got around it eventually by using right shift and going, oh, actually now it's not so much of a problem. But I don't think there should be a barrier there to landing. And that was, yeah. You will be able to turn it off to some degree, but again, if they go too far the other way, that would be wrong as well. The original pledge for the Carrack came with the Pisces and an Urza class rover. I bought that one. Now it does not list any additional vehicles on the pledge. At least we talked about that. I don't even know how to begin with that. Will we get Space KFC? Almost certainly. It'll probably be people. It'll be made of people. Don't you fucking worry. Two questions. One, when will the first chapter of Squadron 42 come out? We don't know, but there's currently on the roadmap, the feature complete beta for Squadron 42, episode 1 is planned for Q3 2020. And how and where can I buy the Hull series? Hull series will be available every so often, but probably around the 23rd of November this year if you want to buy one. And then obviously when they're in game, they'll probably go for flyable sale and then be available in game as well. The Hull C, which is the first Hull series we're aware of that's coming out, is not on the roadmap for the Persistent Universe yet. Q4 2019 this year, it's ready for Squadron 42, but it needs a bit more time to get ready for the Persistent Universe. Will most ships be sold at CitizenCon? Yes. Or around those 2 weeks around the expo, yes. I'm also expecting they'll do the same thing they did last year, have an in-game event, and also have loads of ships freely rentable. It's an Anvil Stoat. Do you reckon the Pisces snub will go on sale by itself? Yes. At CitizenCon, I'd expect. Do you have to print your CitizenCon ticket out? I've never been on before. There was a FAQ. I would print it out just in case. Also put it on your phone. Will the Andromeda's rear ship work in 3.8? It was supposed to have ship-to-ship docking in 3.8. Ship-to-ship docking is currently not on the roadmap for some reason. So I'll poke CIG about that. But when they have ship-to-ship docking, the Parasite ship, the P-52, should be able to be docked and undocked from the Constellation. That's what they've said. It was in 3.8, but it's disappeared at the moment. So we'll have to try and find out where that's going to land. What's an opinion? Shite, thank you very much for the donation. I'm liking the idea of the Black Widow being the name, and don't get me started on that shining beacon of hope that is your head. Thanks, that interdicts people, mate. Nothing new here, still want size 6 torpedoes, Harbinger, blah blah. Yeah, it's the shame with the Harbinger only having, what was it, 3 size 5 torpedoes? It's just a bit lackluster. Hype. But now I'm watching boards, so I'm watching BoredGamer to... What? Ah! Hype, ship. But now I'm just bored, so I'm watching BoredGamer to nurture my board addiction. Thanks very much, Babby Boyington. Very much appreciated. Hi, Board. I looks like CIG is far too addicted to making money on ship sales to ever let it go. Resistance almost seems purposely delayed. Thoughts? I thought that with ship rentals, for sure. Like, I was like, why the fuck is this not in game? I actually think they'll probably make more money the more developed their game is and the more things that you can actually purchase in game. Because I think some people will go, well, actually, I'll upgrade my ship to Avenger Titan, and then, oh, actually, I wanna buy a Hammerhead. So I actually think they'll make more money, in my opinion. CIG's model is always going to be dependent, at least until they have a release Squadron 42 Episode 1, on ship sales. And they are going to release a ship on concept or straight to flyable every 6 to 8 weeks. Probably 8 weeks. 8 weeks on average if you include delays. That makes sense. They're going to keep on doing that. Squadron 4, Star Citizen, CIG, part of what they do is try and make money. They're trying to make money so they can continue development of their game. I probably would expect to see after the game is has full persistence and is sort of released, them still doing concept sales. That would be my expectation. It makes sense. But during the anniversary sale, what ship packages do you typically see? Any new ones? Yeah, so there's probably going to be new packages of ships, like huge packages of ships, and some of the smaller packages. It's like a mining package and a fighter package, but also these huge giant packages. New concept ships, new vehicles on sale, new ships on sale. Some of them are going to be war bonds, some of them are going to be available for store credits. Yeah, you'll see a huge amount of stuff. I'm not sure average PC settings or low-end PC settings you'd need to run Star Citizen on. You can go to the telemetry page to have a look. That would probably help you. Yeah, so last year and previous years we've seen discount starter packages go on sale. So like you'll see an Anvil, and a Mustang Alpha and RSI Aurora MR typically on sale for like $10 less. When will we get pizza delivery missions? I mean, you probably will at some fucking point. Randy, I have explained why I didn't like hover mode because you challenged me on it a couple of weeks ago. And rightly so, you should have. Yeah, and that's fine. But I have articulated what I don't like about it. I don't like that when you get close to the ground, it feels like you're moving too erratically to be able to land safely in those hangars that are around the same size as your ship. Okay? That is what I do not like about the hover mode. I don't like if I try and look down or whatever, I pitch forward and backwards. If they had an underbelly camera, that would help. If they had an auto land mode for landing in those hangars that is much more extended, that would have helped. If they had ways to toggle on and off safeties or something, that would have helped. That is what I did not like about it. I did not like the fact that when I was close to something and I tried to pitch forward a little bit, I'd sometimes go beep. I mean, the sound of boop is not great articulation, admittedly, but your opinion if you like that mode is fine, and people should learn to get good. Is well, I don't agree with that, but that's a fine opinion to have. There needs to be a solution that means that lower end players or players that don't want to fly that well or trash or whatever, if that's the way you want to describe them, can still land at landing zones, you know, to do stuff in the game. No barriers to entry there, come on. Well, I mean, maybe not no barriers to entry there, but low barriers to entry is fine. When can we expect a BoredGamer Mr. Potato Head in the swag store? Oh my. I think that I need to release my own BoredGamer Mr. Potato Head just on my merchandise store. I'm going to change all my merch up at some point. Probably when Zin's working for me because she's actually arty. Zin, make emotes into t-shirts. Make silly star citizens and things. Ship-to-ship docking talked about in the roadmap on the 13th. Roadmap on the 13th. Love your face. Yeah, they did, didn't they? Work on several tech initiatives, such as physics refactor mentioned above, must be completed before this feature can work as intended in the persistent universe. And we've taken it as far as we can without these additional tech requirements, and have retasked the team on other priorities that we can make more progress on with our current tech and tools. So that's where the ship-to-ship docking has gone. Okay, I did see that, but they didn't seem to move it off the roadmap at that stage. Or maybe it just came a little bit later in the day. I didn't notice. So thanks for that catch. What do you think the CitizenCon concept ship would be? So I think originally we thought it was going to, one of them was going to be the RSI Mantis, although this new ship we can see here could be the RSI Mantis, or it could be the RSI Black Widow. I think we'll see some other stuff as well. I think we'll probably potentially see Titan suits. I think we'll see the Carrack and the Pisces go on sale. So the Pisces is new, obviously. There's lots of other ships and vehicles they could potentially have, admittedly, but I've gone through some videos talking about what I think is things they'll likely release. Obviously, we're quite close to more closer to Squadron 42 now, and stuff that they want for Squadron 42 that they could start to release. I'd like to see E-War ship. I'd like to see a Quantum Interdiction ship. I'd like to see ground vehicles that can do salvage, repair, building of space stations. I'd like to see as a ship. I know that's a bit sort of like a larger scale. Yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff they could do. Battle cruisers, drone ship. That's a combat drone ship. I would expect to see something big from Anvil. Anvil are sponsoring CitizenCon. What? So I don't necessarily want Randy to let it go. Like, I'm fine with him having his opinion and talking about it, and other people saying that no, we want hover mode like it was, maybe tweak it or whatever. I think that's fine. Just be a bit more civil about it. Don't just call people out for being liars and stuff. They have a different opinion than you. That is clearly not lying. Why do I have to act like? Why do people have to act like they're children? You're acting like a child. When Star Citizen is released, do you think there will be real dollar grey market transferring in-game ships? Pay $200 real dollars to get a banner merchantman sold to you in the game. I mean, that probably won't be a totally counter-legal thing, but that will happen, yes. Any game where there's an economy, like WoW or whatever, they have gold sellers or people that provide their services, yeah. BoredGamer hates hover mode and therefore hates Star Citizen. Scam. I just upgraded my freelancer Mac to a prospector. Was that a good idea? Looking forward to 3.7. If you like the mining gameplay, then probably. Bored. For me, it was totally fine that he didn't like hover mode, but me personally sees it as failing in the design of landing zones and the lack of monitors. The mode itself was great. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff they could have done to fix the problems I had with hover mode. If you need, yeah, because they have auto land features and stuff to fix it, like I said, yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake. The solution is auto land or landing cam. Yeah, I think that would have been totally viable solutions. I don't want ships floating around fucking atmosphere like mobile floating turrets in space. I don't want them floating around like it's space. I don't want that either. You're right. You're right, Heavy Bob. I love you. I'm surprised that I did not block that message BoredGamer.exe. Is it true the 890 jump team is moving to the Kraken next? I don't know. I've got it in my notes somewhere because I'm doing a video on chip updates and what the teams are all working on. I think the team that's working on the 890 jump, when they finish that, they're going back to the 600i, I believe, to do some light touches up on it, or to improve that somewhat. The next thing will be flying is too hard, I need someone to do it for me, or something to do it for me. And I hope not. I mean, you could always get an NPC crew or someone else to fly you, I suppose. Oh, thank you very much for watching. Very much appreciated. Oh, Job or Job, Jab, Job, G to the OB. You know what would calm people down? Pirate coat of your face. Boom. You're fucking right, mate. You are fucking. It's not even a pirate coat. Oh. There we fucking go, mate. Don't you fucking worry. You give me money, I put fucking whatever clothes you want on. That's not... Well, now I sound like a cam girl. That's not what I intended. Oh. Despair. Just help alleviate the mood. The reason people are worried about floating turrets is because it's a bit of a bullshit thing. It would be a trash flight model. It would, if you just had floating ships that just floated in atmosphere in all situations. It would be ridiculous. You need weight to the ships. You need them to be dangerous in atmosphere. If they're floating slowly around something, yeah, they're choosing to fly slowly, but that's generating a lot of heat from their VTOL thrusters, and they can sort of like strafe and do stuff like that. But that's going to be very fuel costly, rather than using lift and stuff. Bored, you're being baited. Please move on. I will move on. I think we've talked about the subject of reasonable amount. Randy, if you want me to look into something and you want me to consider other points of view in like a video, I am happy to do that. If you want to message me, DM me, and I'll look at stuff. I'm happy to be proved wrong on certain things. I'm happy to look at it, stuff in a different point of view. I can only talk about my opinions on mechanics that I'm talking about my opinions on. You see what I mean? And I'm sorry if that's not compatible with other people's, but I encourage you to share yours, preferably with CIG, if you feel very strongly that other people aren't listening to you. And that's the best place to get feedback and to and do it civilly, because otherwise they're not going to fucking listen to you. BoredGamer just wants all ships to be back in hangar mode. That way we can't complain about flight models. I find people complaining. It's so good. Bored, when it comes to the flight model, why is no one listening to what you say the first time? Sam's desk removes auto aim. So the auto gimbal problem is an interesting one. Okay, so I like the idea of Star Citizen having a skill floor that isn't too aggressive, but it can't be too much of a skill floor that just auto gimbals and all these sort of like assistance modes. Just, well, you don't need to be a good pilot because auto gimbal's better, or the ship entirely lands itself. And you're totally safe in that. So you need skill. You need skill to be able to differentiate people. So you need this huge skill ceiling. But the skill floor can't just entirely look after you. So what's your top favorite 3 videos you've ever put out or appeared in? I don't really know. There's one of me and Zen playing Star Citizen quite early on, where I set the self-destruct on and ran out of the ship quickly. We couldn't get out of the ship quick enough, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. I've liked lots of the multiplayer ones I've been in, from one of the most recent Rexilla ones, to releasing the Turtles, to being in some of in Neo's and the Spanish community's videos, Tri stuff. So yeah, anything with multiplayer is fun. Can I join test? Yeah, fuck it, why not? They'll let you in. They let anyone in. I think people would buy my bathwater. If I bring some to CitizenCon, people will buy my bathwater. I promise you. Has CIG given any indication of external app support? So are you talking about grabbing stuff directly from an API from in-game, bam, and grabbing data out? Because obviously it does have external app support to some degree, but it doesn't have an API yet to have to grab data from. So like, for example, you've got Game Glass, which obviously just mimics keyboards effectively. Or some of the talkie stuff. But we know that they want to have to support mods. I believe they want to have an external API that you can grab data from for app support and stuff, or internal one. You know what I mean? But I'm not sure when that's coming. That could be a long way out. Now that we've seen the new ship, how much do you think it will be? Sort of like adjusting my amount to between 240 and 350 of that area. Will the pirate coat be one of the wearable options for the official BoredGamer Mr. Potato Head? Good question. Probably. It's a good idea. Christian, I have a question about the utility item hardpoint available on certain ships. Will any utility items be freely installable as long as it's the right size? No, I don't believe so. I do think they're going to be relatively bespoke for certain things. You might be able to have a reasonable amount, or there might be some changes you can make with them. I don't think they're going to be any size 5 utility item can be put in this across all ships. You're a gentleman on the scholar board. Thank you very much. You signed the petition to have the pirate coat as an in-game wearable. The public demands. See, what I should have done is I probably should have really defined my issues with hover mode. My sort of like, I just went, I know it will sort of be fixed. These are my problems with it. I should have, and then future, when I have problems with things I like or don't like or whatever, I'll talk about them in a lot more critical analysis. We need to demand the pirate coat was a wearable option game. Safety Boy needs a second outfit. No, Safety Boy's good in his current outfit. I will bring Safety Boy out for certain events. Maybe for Rexilla's RP nights. He'd love Safety Boy on his ships. Making sure his ship is safe. I know you're under NDA, but can you give any indication of how you feel about the new features? I like what 3.7 is trying to do. I like, so with mission sharing, and with the harvestables and lootables, and FPS minables, that's a huge amount of things to do in Star Citizen. Do you think Star Citizen video content is fixed now? Community content? Not necessarily. So they're going to make mistakes, they're going to have terrible weeks, they're going to have great weeks. I think that they need to make sure that Pillar Talk is about the next patch coming out. I think they need to get another couple of shows in each month. Hey, do you think the iteration of Salvage v0 will be able to use the multi-tool, will be with the multi-tool and not the Reclaimer or the Vulture, now that's been pushed back? No, I think the first iteration of Salvage they want to get in, especially with the staggered development model, is both by hand and with the Reclaimer stripping hulls. Or the Vulture stripping hulls and Reclaimer stripping hulls. Oh, thank you very much, Job. Job. Love your fucking face, mate. Very much appreciated. Will you be getting the CitizenCon digital goodies pack, seeing as last year's items are nowhere to be seen? No, last year's items are available to be placed in the hangar as flare, aren't they? That's correct. Can't run around with the knife in verse. I've got a digital goodies pack from my CitizenCon ticket. You get one with that. I might buy some more for giveaways. I've still got like 8 of the last year's goodie packs. Without breaking NDA, can you comment on the accuracy of the roadmap status of the Defender based on your experience in 3.7 PTU? I can't say if it's in the PTU or in the EVOCATI patch or anything. I don't think, but I can say that I would expect 3.7 to meet all of its features for live. I suppose the only thing I thought might slip was going to be the Defender at one point, but we'll have to wait and see. Join test, we welcome you. You have to buy one of those $4 helmets, though. Yeah. Lol. Right. Any questions that got deleted? Or my auto moderator is being aggressive, and I can actually look at the list here. Oh, this is pretty good. If I give $20 to Board, can I get him on cam in some nipple tassels? That was moderated. Because I used the word nipple, I think. Being one of those who have pushed the button up and suddenly flipped in a complete loop, calling people that have a different experience of lies kind of crappy. That was when we were... Space lovely lady bars equal fun. Someone said scam, scam, scam. At some point, the moderator grabbed that as spam. Scam, spam. Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah, so in future, the ruling will be when we're talking about things, is that if you are not being civil, and you know what that means, I'm not going to baby you through that and child you through that. If you're not being civil, I'll probably say, please be civil. If you're still not civil, then I will give you a ban probably for the stream, or potentially even permanently. But I'm okay with discussing any topics. And if you want me to take a look at something and you think I've been unfair on something, please drop me a message, drop me an email, and say, oh, I'd like you to look at this in a different point of view, or I think you were unfair on this, or I think you were totally off the mark with this. Totally happy to think about it. I'd be happy to discuss it on a video. Well, I'll try to do those when I'm articulating things I don't like. Especially mechanically, I will really, really define and analyze it and say what I really mean, rather than just sort of like dismissively going, oh, I just don't like it a bit. You just sort of out. I heard that there were rumours about the changing of storage modules in the Caterpillar and the ability to swap them out. Do you think they'll have crew, medical, etc.? Yeah, I think we're going to see, starting next year, probably, we'll start to see modularity on ships a lot more. That's something that they have to start building in. It's one of the cores of Star Citizen for me, anyway. That sort of stuff that you could do. And I think we'll start to see those sort of like modules as items next year, potentially with the Caterpillar ones as well. And yes, the Caterpillar should still have modularity. It's not just a cargo ship. It wasn't ever sold as just a cargo ship. Bored, you're being very patient. You're a better man than me, sir. I'm cool with... Look, worked in restaurants, worked as a chef. Be pretty chill. Lots of customer service. If I ever do a politics channel, ever in the future or whatever, I would do politics from a very neutral point of view, and I would I would actively seek out people from different political beliefs and views and parties and things, and talk to them about what they believe and why they believe that, and question them. Really trying to dig down why they believe that and what experiences they had in their life that have made them think that or whatever. And it would the idea would be to expose ideas for what they are and the reasons behind them, so that you can make your own decision based on stuff. I am super about personal responsibility and about people finding their own way in the world. What is right for me is not necessarily right for you. I'm totally about that. I think that the only way that I can remain stable and sane and sort of like my anxiety and my bipolar is by having sort of like that sort of mindset. That's what I feel anyway, maybe. So it's good at managing, just going, well, this is right for me, might not be right for you. Asking people like their political beliefs on things is madness as well, because you're like, well, if you're a rich business owner, you're probably going to be more conservative. You're probably going to probably. So yeah, we're crossed into politics. Know anything about the hull E and changing cargo mods to making it a floating city? Like they said, what? I mean, the hull E is massive. They are building out different types of cargo pod for different sizes of cargo and different types of cargo. Do you really think I have the ability to censor questions on the fly? I'm the worst at streaming. Bob, you repeatedly put, now I sound like a cam girl in the chat. I've seen that message come up so many times. Will we see the Caracan 3.7? Nope. It's planned for 3.8. Do you think Squadron 42 release date is realistic considering the lack of working flight model? I think they could give a Squadron 42 release date, yes. And I think that's probably what they'll try and do at CitizenCon if it's at all possible. Why can't they just implement a basic drag versus gravity versus thruster flight model? Please don't make Please do not make a politics channel. Do you think they'll demo jump points at CitizenCon? Yes. I think we'll see the Carrack, the Pisces, jump points, the Pyro system probably, maybe another system as well. Doesn't have to be fully fleshed out, can just be semi-faked. I think we would see 3.8 and 3.9 gameplay. I think we'll see like Crusaders, Horizon, and potentially Microtech V1 of New Babbage. A mission loop probably. Will there ever be a persistent custom marker solution, something that could keep tabs on caves and such? I would expect that almost certainly at some point. We're going to be able to sell locational data to other players, so we need something like that. And be able to find a way around the verse, and be able to bookmark stuff and be able to quick travel to it. So they've talked about having beacons that you can deploy, that you can quantum travel to, and things like that as well. Would you support a Death Star-like ship that's shaped like your head and shoots size 20 torpedoes out of your eyes? Just curious for reasons. Yes, if you wish to build me sort of like a working model of that, or some sort of concept art for it, I'd like it. When do you think beta release? For what? Beta release? Can you be more specific? Squadron 42 beta release? Which probably isn't going to actually be released to beta. It will be an internal beta. A Star Citizen beta? Are you talking about feature complete, or are you talking about full persistence? Or are you talking about 3.7 going to wider PTU? How do they plan to offer discovery of jump points, yet systems have already been discovered and all routes mapped already? But there has to be secret systems, there has to be other systems, there has to be, there could be, well, it doesn't have to be any of that, I suppose. I would expect there would be other systems. I suspect there'll be jump points that give you, jump you around the same system, a small distance, or to other links to other systems. Maybe those jump points will come into existence for a short period of time and then disappear again, like in EVE. I think that the way to approach people is to just ask them why they have that opinion and why they think that, without them letting them shame you. I think a lot of political commentators online, they try to be edgy boys, or try to shame other people, or try to say that their point of view is stupid. You go, okay, well, that's not the sort of stuff I'd be discussing. I'd be asking them why they think a particular thing. I wouldn't be shaming them about it. I'd just be asking, okay, well, that's interesting. Why? I mean, that probably see that could cause problems in this area or whatever, or do you... But yeah, don't overly get into my political views of being reasonable to everyone. When do you think the new concept ship will go on sale? Either for 3.7, for like the live 3.7, or this weekend. Mustang Delta or Anvil Arrow. I think we could get a food truck type ship in the future. I hope not. I know a lot of people would want that, or maybe. I don't fucking know. Silly. Yeah, I mean, they might make it very Second Life-y, so maybe they will have a load of silly civilian vehicles and things. This is sort of like a, you know, like a British long rifle regiment coat, whatever they're called. You know, like an old school military Napoleonic War-esque coats. It's supposed to be a part of like a steampunky military uniform that I had as a costume. With silly hats. It buttons up and everything. Got medals and everything on too. There you go. My head is far too big for this hat. I've got a giant head and slightly odd-shaped head. Cesarean section as a child, which means your head isn't compressed in the same way that other children's heads are. So I have a freaky head. Beluga whale, I've been known as. Egg. Have you ever considered applying for a position with CIG as a community manager? I don't like. I like what I do on my channel. I think there's a huge possibility of being able to do to make a lot of money on my channel just covering Star Citizen, doing gameplay, and doing guides and stuff. And I would like to have my own path rather than work for someone else. Look at the coming soon page now. Is it still this picture or is it changed again? It's still this picture, Just make sure it's still this picture by refreshing it. Yeah, so I think this looks cool. Some people said that it could be the Black Widow, as sort of been mentioned previously in lore and stuff. So we think it's Quantum Interdiction, RSI Mantis, Heavy Fighter, and Quantum Interdictor, or RSI Black Widow, Quantum Interdictor. But yeah, Quantum Interdiction almost certainly. Is that command module on the wrong way around? No, that's the right way, isn't it? I think it was there. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. Shouldn't the flight models have been the very first thing that CIG nailed down in a game about spaceships? Also, love your content and fly safe in these unrealized flight model times. Yes, so I'd have liked the cores of Star Citizen to have been the first things they did before they even made the persistent universe. Yes. There's definitely been problems with the flight model, and they need to get it fucking nailed down and right. What do you think to an everyday people transporter by Crusader Indus? Like entry-level passenger transport that Star Citizen minivan? Maybe like the Origin 200 series could be something like that. Any news or updates on the Santok Kiai? It's not Santok Kiai, it's Santok Kiai. And no, there's no updates on that as far as I'm aware. Looking more like a Black Widow now that I think about the name. Yeah, I know, it is sort of looking like that, isn't it? It looks a bit spidery-ish, I suppose. And it's got the red on it. Black Widow makes sense. Got the spider fangs and sort of maybe legs. Maybe. I think it's an interdictor more than anything else. So we think that Raider's interdiction, although it could also be used for interception maybe, or slowing ships down, or E-War, or something that adds to the interdiction. Maybe it's super tanky, so that after it's interdicted, it can sort of like stay flying around. We don't 100% know yet. We don't even know if it's an interdictor. It just looks like one. what do you think harsh penalties for pirates and lawbreakers will be? Going to prison and jail. They're building a prison system at the moment into the cave stuff, combining it with some other tech, other assets, and we're going to have prisons in-game. Which will have gameplay associated with them. If the flight model was locked down before the persistent universe, don't you think it would have had to have been modified eventually? Yeah, quite possibly, very possibly. But I think it should have been in a better state. But yeah, I mean, it's all hypotheticals. We're in the situation we're in. They need to get something locked down and something that's genuinely quite great. I think they can do that, just taking a long time. You know why the caterpillar in the concept cell has not moved? The engines are clearly on. It's not budged yet. I think it's just a picture. That's why. I think it was the reveal of the ship to the left that was the more important thing. What instrument did you play, Bod? You think I'm in a band? I've played the trumpet and the euphonium before. And before that, the triangle. Clouds in 3.7? No, not proper dynamic weather clouds. You'll see better fog tech, I think. But can we gel other people? I think if you kill someone while they have a high criminal rating, it could potentially put them in jail. That was the idea with that the jail system when it's out. It might be only if it's security or bounty hunters that take you down though. So. If a person kills 64 players and NPCs on an 8 jump, their character should be given life in prison, similar to real life. No, of course not. There needs to be fines. It depends on what type of space they're in, and there needs to be ways of being able to break out. And they can just go, fuck, if I'm in prison for 2 days, I'll log off. Harvestables is just a fad question? No. So harvestables, lootables, all that sort of stuff, that leads on to farming. That's huge amounts of busy work and grinding. That's we have proper loot because of that. We have by hand multi-tool mining. I think it's hugely important. Why do other people talk smack about Star Citizen yet never follow it or play it? What the F is going on? Some people are just like that. You get people in all communities which are just there to troll or be a bit of a dick. It 100% happens. Don't worry about it too much. Thanks, Space Cowboy. That makes me feel better that you also have an oddly shaped head. No, harvestables are a fave, not fad. No, for the West. The West, Bob. But yes, I think it's incredibly important. Some of the stuff they're putting in 3.7. But yeah, I think what it is that we need combat and flight model and all these core mechanics really locked down and working well together. And Star Citizen's development has been a long process so far, and we still don't have those locked down. Yeah, they are building out tools for a load of the other stuff and procedural tech and the generation and building out studios and stuff, but they really need to get that stuff locked down within the next few quarters as well. And because of the way they're doing their staggered development, you're going to have to start holding them accountable based on like 3.8 onwards, really, how playable their patches are. They say they want to have them in a more playable state. Okay, I will start judging them based on that higher sort of level of critique. Right. I am going to go off for dinner, I think, because I have not eaten properly today. I had some chicken this morning for breakfast. A little bit of chicken. I haven't eaten the rest of the day. But But as I said, if people have got any other questions or anything, or they want me to look at something in more detail, feel free to message me. I'll potentially check it out as a video at some point. I'm looking forward to 3.7. I'm hoping wider PTU goes live this week, which is a possibility. I think if they're trying to make the end of September or first week of sort of like October as a deadline for 3.7 live, they've got to get it to wider PTU this week. I will save you some bathwater, no worries, Heavy Bob. Bathwater and potato heads in the store soon. Yeah, so first wave PTU for 3.7 for concierge and subscribers, I would hope for this week. But yes, thank you very much for all the donations. Very much fucking appreciated. And unexpected from a lot of new people. Thank you very much for all the bits. Thank you very much for the super chats. Thank you very much for the love and the questions. As I said, in the future, as long as people are civil, I'm happy to talk about anything. And I think it's cool to be wrong, or at least it's okay to be wrong. Just be able to have your mind changed. And if you think you're 100% right, you're probably a fucking monster. Let me go and host someone else. Who else is online? HC Vertigo is online, so we will go. Oh, I hope so. Do you want HC Vertigo or Ubernerd? Which one of these lovely gentlemen do you want? Ubernerd, bam! The first person said Uber. Perfect. We will host them. Thank you very much for the love. Very much appreciated. You guys take care. I'll get out some more 3.7 stuff as soon as I can. It is stressful being in the EVOCATI because I want to be able to talk about stuff I can't. And Heavy Bob, you keep on fucking rocking with Star Citizen Leaks. And thank you very much for curbing the conversation when I asked you to be more civil. That was very much appreciated, people, in general. Yeah, remember, it's cool to be wrong. It's all good. And fuck your flight mode. Fuck your flight mode! It's shit! Fuck your hover mode! I hate hover mode!